Thank you so much for the warm introductions. Srini, Shubhito, Amol, very warm welcome to our panel. This is the one that I've been looking forward to. Always a pleasure speaking to all the three. Uh, for all our friends who have joined in to listen to all of you, you collectively bring a very rich set of experience, a set of experience which travels across sectors. We have Amol representing a fintech firm. Chini, you represent a completely new age of organizations. I mean, NetMed is literally a household name. Sudipto, you are an organization which is uh, a testimony of how old school organizations still rock. Imami, and who hasn't used your product. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of today's panel. Right, I have around 45 to 50 odd minutes, so I'll jump right in, and we'll have a great conversation going forward. Shini, let me start today's discussion. Right, at the onset, I like to start every conversation by saying one thing, which is, when I studied history, and I'm sure all the three of you will concur, we studied history in the ADBC era, before Christ this happened and AD this happened. I think modern history will have it in a different perspective. It will be the pre-pandemic phase and the post-pandemic phase. We are truly in the post-pandemic phase with the worst touchwood and hopefully behind us, right? But uh, what has happened is after the pandemic hit us, not to suggest that cybersecurity was not important before that, but the threat landscape changed exponentially, right? And who better to tell this or speak about it than the three of you? All the three are CISOs in your respective organization. But the challenging, but the challenge in front of you is so daunting is that cyber threats keep evolving. So how do you manage? So I know there is no simple answer to this, right? And I probably have Shini and Amol participate. But starting with you, Shini, how tough or easy is it to be on top of your game? And how do you keep up with the pace and the challenge that cyber security or cyber threat poses to you as an organization? Considering that the optics of your organization, you have a lot of leverage because you are a digital organization. Shini, over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Aplog. This is Srinivas. I'm CISO at NetMeds and C Square. So I'm taking care of entire information security management here in the organization. So thanks, you highlighted this digital era prior and post what we are doing as a part of cybersecurity. It's pretty much post era, you can say. So we have been receiving multiple surveys, guidelines, feedbacks. We used to receive quarterly basis or of yearly or annually basis. Nowadays, daily with the threat landscape, we are keep on receiving the surveys, ke- keep on receiving the alerts basically on the threat landscape. So we are when we are waking up and going through the news, so every day there is a data leakage. Every day there is a ransomware attack. There are category of new threat landscape created. So it's hard from the CISO perspective how adapt with the current infrastructure which we hold. So because most of the traditional and legacy system is very hard to adapt with the latest technologies. And even though if you invest with the latest technology, it's very hard to adapt with the current cyber security landscape. So what we are keep on the strategy changes. So earlier we used to create an information security plan and we follow the plan and the traditional way we implement everything, and we used to see the effectiveness monitoring on the board person. Now we need to think about in the digital world. So each and every minute we need to change the plan, and we need to, yeah, we need to take care of our backup plans, how we are adapting and how we are implementing the security measures toward the current cyber threat landscape. It's very hard from our side, unfortunately. So we don't we face the resource unavailability also, because keep on learning its important things and resource crunch also. And technology is very costlier to adapt with the current cyber security landscape. So, but we are trying our level best doing in the robust strategy of technical, non-technical, and giving a awareness to the information security per se and current cyber security attacks, and keep on educating our employees also, because most of the things comes from the phishing or and that ransomware attack comes from the internal threats and internal employees which are not aware of what is the current cyber. So that is what we are keep on doing awareness from our side. And from the technology side, obviously we need to put additional investment, and we are keep on changing our cybersecurity strategy based on the current landscape.
Come back to you. Two things. Very good that you pointed it out. A, you said the country's involvement of security landscape, which A puts tremendous pressure on your existing IT solutions and resources, human resources that you have at hand. So clearly, these are one of the other issues that the challenge that you face. Uh, I have one question about the role of automating cybersecurity, but I'll park it right now. But I'm sure you have something to speak about. I'll get Shudipto and Amol's perspective. Shudipto, uh, the same question. I mean, like I said, why I asked this is one common question to all of you because every organization has its own set of challenges. Right? We just heard what Shini had to offer. Uh, if I were to ask you the same question, what to you is the most difficult part to manage as a CISO as far as cybersecurity goes? I mean, probably Amol, be prepared. I'm going to ask you the same.
Yeah, for us, biggest problem I face within the organization is the assets of the digital assets and the what are the assets we given to the employees. Tracking of the asset become a big problem because the pre-pandemic era it was so people are working from mostly working from office, so we don't have the culture of working from home. So all of a sudden when the pandemic came, so we need to provide them the laptops and the system so that they can work on that part. Now when again people came back, so bringing the force to the office became another problem, and then the openness, so most of the cases the control of the asset become very tough. Applying the patches, applying the updates of the new security tools, new technologies become very difficult nowadays. That's the one area which is giving me a nightmare, and when I cannot think anything beyond that. It is one area. And second part is the BYOD. So now BYOD is becoming another challenge for us. So people bringing their devices now connect them, and then the mutual understanding between the actual user and the user and us, the technical guys. So what kind of restriction shall I put? What kind of level of protection shall I give there? Because if we take the control of the device by ourselves, people and then the owner become lost the all the privilege from the system. Now here is the one problem where we are struggling. And second part is what we found is the so we are completely adopting cloud. So our strategy is moving towards the cloud itself. Now again the solution whatever we are taking, so that's evaluation taking a long time. Business nowadays taking their own solution by to get itself, and then they are coming to us saying, okay, we have taken that solution, you change. They have already decided that one, then they are asking us to evaluate. So that's become another critical area which is giving me a most of the trouble. Third part and fourth part is that the even they have taken the solution, and then in case of the problem they say IT is a responsible guys who has to fix that one. We don't have any inputs on that. We don't know anything about it, what is there, even how that is configured, who is managing, who
I
has
think this is a very well. I think two things that you highlight. One, the last point was speaking about shadow IT. I think every CISO or CIO work they solved would conquer, and it's users like us, for instance, who are not the CIOs or not the CISO managers. We fancy one set of application, we install it, because of which there's some cybersecurity snag, and we don't own up because we suddenly because back at our conscience, we felt that this is a great app to use. So, like you, I think shadow IT is a reality that exists within every enterprise and is a challenge for most of you to mitigate. I probably maybe at the fag end of the discussion, I'll probably ask how are you mitigating that? If you have any answers, I'm sure a lot of parents listening to this would love to hear. The second part, interestingly, you spoke about bring your own device. It's a term which has existed for many years, but honestly, BYOD, the policy, a lot of companies still don't have. While the term exists, you don't understand. While hybrid work has been there, so for many of them that I've worked with in the past or that I know of, they've deployed hybrid work, but they're not truly accepted bring your own device as a corporate policy. So interesting that you spoke about this. So I'll see if we can again touch base upon this. Then I'm trying to keep them and interject as it would require. But I'll get Amol into this. Amol, again, very see that's the beauty of this conversation. Srini, very different set of challenges. So does Sudipto. In your view, as a CISO, consider you are a fintech player, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have to manage on a daily or more frequently?
Yes. So basically, was Srini is highlighted the in organization and unaware user is one of the most vulnerable and exploitable sources in the terms of the cyber attack. If we are talking, okay. So as per my things, the ransomware which is in coming days happening, okay, and from ransomware we supposed to be do the rapid recovery, okay. So that is something we very aggressive things in our technologies, basically, if you are talking, okay. If we are saying as per the blipping computer like of in March 2023, which I am observed, okay, there are the 459 incident attacks basically happened into the March, okay. And into the like of latest attack, if you're talking, so clock group is very critical, which attack on 0 days like of SQL injection, the vulnerability into the movie secure managed files that you heard, I think, recently, okay. So these are the main challenging things to be prevent from to the ransomware, as well as we need to be rapid recovery from to the ransomware if anything will be wrong happen, basically.
Okay. Very interesting. Like I said, and that is it. The good part is that I see very less overlap in whatever all the people you said. Actually, like I said, I'll park two things. One, you said we constantly have to keep on investing on our cybersecurity investment. And I open this question to all the three of you. Anyone is more than happy to answer. E, and I've noticed it because as an analyst, I have the that one of the brownie points for an analyst, and you get access to the vendor community as well as to CIO and CISOs like you. Don't you have an issue of problem of plenty? Because there are so many cybersecurity solutions out there in the market. How many do I install in my organization? So how do I manage the challenge of managing so many solutions which are available? How to pick and choose what's appropriate for my organization? Amol echoed what you just said, Shini. Again, the second part is the security threat landscape actually has gravitated towards endpoint. There was a time when pre-pandemic, a lot of focus was on network security. The perimeter operation was that. Now with the hybrid work environment, a lot has dispensed over time. So suddenly the endpoint has become very vulnerable. So a lot of investments were earlier happening network is now happening around endpoint. So that's the second part. Third is you spoke about a lot of manual intervention. So we hear so much about AI, ML, and stuff like that. How is artificial intelligence more important, more than ML, actually changing the way you look at cybersecurity? I know loaded three questions. Maybe all the three of you can take a dig at this. But I think it's important that we get answers to these questions. Srini, you want to give an attempt to this?
Yeah. You have mentioned on the endpoint per se, so I'm not going to I'm not going to specifically on the endpoints. So cybersecurity solution per se, you can say there are huge number of solutions when you go for. So example for the BYOD, the MDM devices and remote management, the encryption solution. There are bits and pieces of small solution needs to be purchased to adapt with the current security threat landscape. But for for this is depends on the business, we can say, because we have we are not advanced in the technology, we are using the legacy solution, whether it can be adaptable. So most of the solution will not be integrate with the legacy system. That is the challenge we are facing it. And we have a we don't have a consolidate architecture when you see when you go for the cybersecurity solution, because the point in architecture we use antivirus, we use DLP solution, and we use security say monitoring solution, log management. So we don't have that consolidation architecture implemented in the organization, because we are using in a traditional application. So example, all the retail outlets require the installer, and all the outlets, they are we need to provide awareness for them, we need to give a support in manual. And if you are remotely connected, it's somewhat 50% challenge from our side to achieve the end result. But so these are all the mix of challenges we faced when you go for the adapting automation or adapting AI and ML, because it's 20 years we have been running a business, and suddenly you are saying you adapt with that is an automation and AI ML. So because 20,000 or 30,000 customers are using our application, suddenly you are asking to migrate it. It's big challenge. And three way you can say, because one is for the legacy software and the customer we use, and second part immediate automation and adoption on the legacy part is another part. And we have invested for huge number of point in architecture where lots of solution purchase and immediately go for automation and consolidation architecture, also the challenge from our side. And 0 day and immediate response on the 0 day is very challenge from our side.
Very challenging. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But so for all our friends who are listening, actually, I mean, I hear what you're saying, that you have, and very rightly so, that you spoke about investments that have been made in the past. You can't just let go of them all. You can't just uh, forego them. With such a scenario, how do I manage an array of solutions? So for instance, like you spoke about some of the solutions that are available. We have DLP, you have DDoS, you have solutions around identity and access management, you have endpoint security, you have network, and which is why uh, your role becomes that much more critical and important, thanks to the prevailing times that we live in. But like in the, I mean, I think Shunita mentioned that they've shifted to a cloud era for most of their workload. Uh, in the cloud world, abstract cloud space, you have something as cloud management platform, CMP as we call it, which gives you that central console to a multi-cloud environment, right? Srini, in the world of cybersecurity landscape, is there a need for that? I clearly see yes. Are the solutions that give you a single pane view of all the security solutions, that are available to your disposal, and you can manage it? Is that a need of the market, and how do you see this? I'm probably still seeing to Srini, but I'll definitely get Shubhita and more into this.
Yeah. So we have solution. So because we obviously there are OEMs who provide a consolidation architecture solution, we can handle the end to end from the endpoint to server. So because everybody is already moved in the traditional to cloud, and we are, so we cannot say the post or pre-pandemic and all. It's already the transformation done. So consolidation architecture is there actually, but adapting with the current business and the application we handle, that is the challenge. Because we have come up with lots of innovations, and with the chat GPTs and AI and ML. So it's all automation is available, but how we are adapting with our business, that is the challenge.
Right. So, I asked this to Shri, and he's answered that in part. Uh, do you see, and I maybe a little spin to this, do you see going forward in near term, the role of AI is actually going to increase how I manage my cybersecurity footprint? Because, like, and I completely agree with Srini, because all said and done, there are few things which will always require manual intervention. Otherwise, what will the CISO or his team of cybersecurity experts do? So, in fact, there's a full array of services in and around, managed security services where you need, people actually checking 24/7 for any cyber threat that is going to be launched. But do you see the role of AI actually helping the CISO as we go forward? And if so, any use cases that you want to speak about?
Yeah, AI. First of all, if I talk about the AI, so my view on the AI, so is it not for everywhere? So if I want to apply AI in OT platform, so that's not possible. So some of where we need to check that where we can apply the AI and what input we should get. So I visited so many people forums and I discussed with so many persons. So they all most of the time they talk that why should not you go with the some AI automation of that and also through that you can completely read of some of the repetitive job itself. So there is a difference between the people when talk about AI, they also talk about the RPA. So now things, are we really need the AI or can I integrate the AI with the RPA? So is there the AI which is able to see that how things are going on? Definitely, some cases in cybersecurity require AI which can reduce the overload. The things in for me, it is a main problem is the visibility. Maybe for all the CISOs having the same problem and the industry having the same problem. I have so many products. Integration is one of the problem. Anyhow, we are able to manage that one. Now, once we got that one, then it's throwing me thousands of alert. Now, with the help of AI, it can give me how we can reduce the noise. And if I integrate the AI with RPA, some of the actions automation we can take that. So in security world, we call it is a playbooks. So those playbooks can help, but definitely before implementing, we need to see what action we need to see and what are the areas we want to check. Even I was in an event where I saw the people are talking about that when they travel, then they need to raise a ticket internally where they need to mention I'm out of the country or out of the state, and then if they not do that one, then definitely their action got revoked or they does not have anything to do that one. So in such cases, definitely AI is helping me to identify where is the problem, how the people are moving towards, what the affinity of the user. It is required through the AI. Definitely it can help me to get understand the areas, and then with that AI, what the action we should take, that the main point what I say. So monitoring is one area and the action is another area. Now some cases the noise reduction. So some of the AI tool is it's just a learning pattern. So I need to train my AI that you should give me a accuracy rate. Then we need to think about the how much accuracy rate should be accepted. So beyond 95% shall I go, or beyond 92% shall I go? So that's before implementing some AI solution, any cyber security, we need to very much focus on what are the areas and what are the accuracy level we should see. And then based on that small area you can implement, and then we see the result. But definitely the way it is changing the landscape and threat, how it is increasing, AI is required for the each and every security landscape, because it will going to reduce your pain, as well as can provide your dynamic protection. So dynamic protection is very much required. So even the Amal was talking about ransomware. If we see the history of the ransomware, it started is in the early evening of the Friday, or in the morning, late evening in the Friday or early morning of Saturday, when people are not there, support team is not there, so they drop the ransom and then started encrypting the entire thing. So in such cases, the how my team is going to help, my AI can help me, things are going on, and then it can look for the other areas, collect the information, and also correlate that information. We also call the threat intelligence or OSINT, which is also can help to inbuilt within your solution and provide me great solution to you to that. But morely, so before investing any new technologies or areas, definitely that should be thoroughly checked, and then understand your requirement, and then you go with that. Else it's very much difficult.
I really like the balance approach, and because it's very easy to jump the bandwagon whenever you need. And I've seen that. I mean, with a whole lot of people, there's a new set of solutions out there. You just jump on a bandwagon without testing. But I think it's a very cautious yet optimistic approach to AI. That I see, and you rightly said. I mean, it's better to first. I mean, you like I said in the beginning. You said you've seen that implement AI in an OT environment is not easy because of the challenges that practice with. At the same time, you've got to test the water, do some pilots, see how it is being accepted, and then do a further drill down across the problem. I'll keep a note of that. Thank you so much. Amal, I think Sudhita was great that he reminded me of that. You spoke about ransomware attack. I think when you speak about cyber security threats, it's the number one threat vector. Clearly, it's a standout threat vector. At least if I go last year, literally 1 out of 4 cyber security attacks was a ransomware attack. So, and I think Shutam gave a very nice note to that most of these vectors become active on a Friday evening when that organization is at its dull phase. That's when they attack, decrypt, encrypt, and that's when you lose a lot of data. Now, Amol, in your organization, which is a company which is in the fintech, see, why I'm asking questions because usually the BFA sector at large is a very regulated environment. I'm not to say that Imami Group or NetBuild isn't, but again, be the e-commerce sector, if that's where I want to position NetMeds, or the pharmaceutical sector as a whole, it's also a very regulated environment. BFSI always has been traditionally been a very regulated environment, with RBI having a strong posture in that case. How is your organization or your industry, looking at all of these moving vectors, especially ransomware attack, as you mentioned, are there some 1 or 2 key suggestions that you like to throw with all who are listening? You can never make your organization foolproof to ransomware attack, but some of the basic strategy in place to make sure that we've done our bit to ensure that we don't face a ransomware attack. Your views on this, Amal?
Yep. So into that, the ransomware attack, basically we need to be protect our data. So data protection is all about to be backup, availability, and recovery, and providing a best and last line of the defense into the attack, basically. Okay. So from here, we need to be followed like of 3 components which I've observed into the cyber resiliency. Okay, it's a strategy perspective. One is the isolation. Second is the orchestration, and is a rapid recovery. So isolation is like of we can say we need to be keep up the backup of to be logically into the separated backup, basically dual backup system supposed to be in place in case of our one backup system is got infected with the ransomware, so we have to be backup up to other offsite backup might be. Okay. And if you're talking about orchestration, we have to be automate our quarantine control to reduce the scope of impact. Okay, incident response orchestration uses the trigger from to the monitoring system to the automate the execution actually. Okay, so we need to be predetermine workflow to quarantine the threat and the reduce of the scope impact, basically. The third is a rapid recovery. If in case of any happening, okay, we supposed to be ensure how fast we can recover into the cyber resiliency. Okay, so the dual backup system can be effective here. Most of basically, we need to be like of sometimes the dirty network whenever will be happened. Okay, if we have a configuration backup, if we have a data backup up to the restoration perspective, we can work onto the clean network, and we can establish our network as early as possible. So that is a rapid recovery which we are looking here into the protection and to cyber resilience perspective.
I mean, I could not have put this more beautifully. It's as if you forecasted what I was going to ask all the three of you, because I feel, I've also tracked the business continuity disaster recovery market for a while now, right? And 10 years back, if I was speaking to all the three of you, a typical DCDR discussion would be focused more about natural calamities, geopolitical crisis, so on and so forth. Now, every person whose work is solved, be it a vendor, partner, provider, or an end user like you, the first challenge when it comes to business continuity or disaster recovery is not a natural calamity or geopolitical crisis, is cybersecurity. So I think cyber resilience is the number one issue that everybody is speaking about. So I could not have asked uh, a better platform to speak about. Thank you so much for that. But since you spoke about, and you spoke about, the three phases of, automating it, backup, and recovery. Uh, Shini and Sudipto, would you like to add to what is Amol mentioned? Because I think cyber resilience as an area has come up to speed very recently, very soon. You know, some DR trends or cyber resilience trends that you've seen have helped you firm up your posture as an organization. Maybe Shini, and then probably Shuni, I'll request you to take it up.
Right. So I can recall what you have mentioned. So we used to have a tabletop exercise for every month on the ISO certification, where we need to showcase as a evidence.
Yeah.
We perform for whether we have a proper transport available, proper location is alternate location is available. We keep on do that BCP activity. Now that is not the actual one we do, because that traditional way we have handled. But the new era. So each and every backup. So I'll give you an example. 3-4 years, one of my colleague got a ransomware attack, and they are based out of US. And it's an example what Amol has mentioned. So basically, the Exchange server was compromised. The outdated Exchange server was compromised. That server, what they did, we have tried to restore and from the backup. What they did is they have taken a backup in the Exchange server itself. So that was the bad example, and I can take it out as a part of a backup implementation, why we need to take alternate location, why we need to take offsite backup, because they have taken a backup the compromised server itself. So it got around 6 lakh dollar ransom has been raised, because the most of the sensitive information used to communicate through the email server. So, but why this cyber resiliency we have to keep on talking about? So, it's backup and restoration is the mandatory. So we need to mandate in the organization where we continuously. We don't want to keep it in a frequency for the regulator saying that quarterly you perform or semi-annually you perform. We need to regularly test that BCP and disaster not only for the storage per se, each and every service we
Absolutely.
publicly, each and
Very
every
rightfully said.
services.
It's not just confined to your storage arrays.
Yeah.
It goes beyond that.
Everybody everywhere we need to keep a backup, and we need to test regularly, and we need to see the effectiveness of implemented control, whether it's actually implemented and actually it's working. So that is the way we can monitor that. That incident was my eye opener, you can say. Wherever I go, so I create a separate policy and procedures on that, and how frequent we need to do it, because they paid around, luckily they had a cyber liability insurance. They paid with that liability insurance and let. So they were not agreed on 25 lakhs of implementation, that they paid 2,25,000 dollar penalty. This ransom, you can say, that is hard for around 17-20 days of work we have recovered, and there are lots of formalities because you have not approved for 25 lakhs of solution where preventively providing the measures and not in post recovery mode. So cyber resiliency, we need to closely look on it, and each and every my fellow leaders who are attending this event, I strongly suggest to focus on the BCP and BCP and DR, and cyber resiliency.
I could not have echoed it more than this, Shini. Absolutely. I mean, uh, the more we speak about it, the better it is. I mean, like you said, because uh, gone are the days when we spoke about, like I said, BC planning in a historical way, and the part is there are so many moving parts to this. It's not an easy task, and in fact, I remember asking a question on the platform. So, whose ambit does it fall under? Because traditionally BCDI was probably not a CISO activity. So this is that that fine line where the CISO and the CIO and a whole collective, maybe other departments in function, have to collectively work on this common cause. Sudipto, moving on, I'll probably ask one question, a question which may not be a question. See, there's one term which is become synonymous with your industry, which is zero trust. Right? Everybody wants to jump on the so-called bandwagon, say I'm a zero trust expert or a zero trust provider or a zero trust vendor. So much so many people have confused the market by saying that zero trust is a product, which we all know is not the case. It is nothing but a framework, right? Whatever limit I understand at that framework, one of the key foundations of that framework is in and around identity and access management. That's the chassis, if I may say. Do you feel, considering that now that we are past the pandemic, but at the same time, while many of us are back to our office work, but also let's we know that hybrid work as a concept is here to stay. People will work from home also once in a while. In such a scenario, does zero trust still have its relevance as it had, say, 2 years back? Has it become more relevant? What is your take on this? I mean, should we still give a lot of emphasis to zero trust? But this is an area which will never have, I have limitless competition, but for today, I want to spend the next 5 minutes on this.
I saw zero trust as a essentiality of zero trust. I always see like it's how it is going to protect that one, what I am trying to protect, what I am trying to achieve with that one. Now, the way things are moving towards a different direction. So zero trust is telling me that you limit the access. You limit the access to the resource, you limit the access with the timeline, you limit the access to a person itself. So which can itself uh, reducing the attack surface within the organization, be it inside, be it outside. I cannot determine where the people will move to next day or after 2 hours or 1 hour, how they have been placed, what they are doing. I am not sure about that. Maybe they are inside the office, maybe they are outside the office due to their work requirement. So in such a diversified work culture, so zero trust is the one of the key areas we should focus. But prior to implementing the zero trust, I would say you first assess what are the things required to implement the zero trust. Among them, what are the things do you have? So you rightly say that each and every area, if I go any discussion, people talking about the zero trust, and one vendor will stood up and they will say, I have a solution for the zero trust. Definitely it is there. Definitely they has the solution for the zero trust, but it is not the complete one. Definitely does not, nobody can provide a complete zero trust solution. So before implementing the zero trust, you need to understand. So what are the components do you have currently? Have I implemented them? Your complete roadmap for the zero trust to be prepared very minutely, And within the roadmap, you should mention that okay, this product we can go, and that is that what we are going to achieve. Once you implement the existing, once you utilize your existing investment, then we can move to a different product point of solution, which is a one way to convince the business or the board itself that okay, we are in a zero trust journey that's going to help me to prevent from the new era of security threats or cyber threats that we have. And these are the solution is required. Among them, we have that solution. We have already achieved that much. I need your help to complete the journey. So help me to implement, and that would be the benefit. So definitely, business, we need to justify the zero trust as a benefit to the business. It's not a technology improvement at the way technology moving towards. Zero trust journey definitely should have a business value. And work culture wise, so maybe for me, so it's a 24/7. Once I office, my system is on. Once I move to home, definitely I put on my system. So whenever required, I have to work, and that is okay. Even I believe it is for everybody. So we need to once there is a requirement, we need to work. But the area where we are working, so that has to be secure, and what I'm trying to access, that need to be secure. So definitely, zero trust is the area required for the future. And if we start now, so it will help me. Even I believe the Gartner also predicted that by 2025, there will be a 70% people organization will go for the zero trust. That is as a good way. The report, I would say. I want to add 2 or 3 points about the regarding earlier discussion about, so that is I think Srini and Amal already add that one. Incident response, cyber drill, the way we should do the fire drill, we should also do the cyber drill, ransomware drill. Even incident response practice need to be built within the organization, which can help us to prevent in case of the rapid recovery any incident, be it a ransomware or not. Another point, now people, I was discussing with some of my friends and colleagues itself. So we are all CISOs more inclined to ISO 27000 implementation. We love to implement that one. It's a process practice. And we proudly say we are ISO 27001. That's another achievement for us. With that one, if we also consider the business continuity, ISO 22301, that is, I believe, that's one area we should focus now, because it's a key enabler or protector for the business for any kind of issues, be it ransomware, be it anything.
I think so. I think good that you making these points more objective. You've called out the ISO certificates that are required for BT planning. But on a lighter note, I'll get Amol. So Amol has given some interesting cues for us to speak about. You know, and I hear you probably know more about this. It is said that cyber criminals collaborate better, and hence they're able to attack more frequently and more successfully. Are there any lessons to be learned by our nemesis, which is a cyber criminal, in terms of purely collaboration? How can you achieve better synergies to counter the cyber experience that happens? It's a question that I'm asking for more. I'll talk. If Srini and people want to have a dig at this, more than welcome to. But I'll request Amol. I mean, because like I said, because most of us, when we have a security incident, we try to contain within our own. At times, that's the standard. Is that beneficial at a larger cost? So, your views with Amol.
So into that, we supposed to be collaborate with the cyber security experts basically into that. Okay, there is an organization like America Cyber Defense Agencies. Okay, CISA government. We have collaborated here. The Community Emergency Response Team supposed CERT, which we can take
Certain.
a refer actually.
India
yes.
has
Certain.
Yeah, cert. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, certain.
So into that, we supposed to be ensure our the analysis and mitigation and footprints. Basically, we need to be share our responses into that actually. So that is a more collaborative and learning part to all the organization from there.
But does it happen? What a point is, for instance, you've had a cybersecurity breach. Now, due to regulatory measures, you're probably supposed to share that with the authorities, and we do that. But I mean, given scenario, you would not do that. You would have to suppress it. What I'm saying is collaborating on such a sticky area is theoretically easy, practically not that easy. How do you manage this? I mean, like I said, we may not necessarily have a right answer to this, but what are your views on that? How do I ensure that I am level up with the cybersecurity? The criminal who is trying to defeat me or attack us.
This to me.
Yeah,
I'll,
Shri, or
I'll,
any one of you want to take a thing at it.
I'll help you out. As in the initial discussion itself, I told you, right? So the human resource, the crisis is there actually.
Yeah.
So with my example incident I mentioned, that threat actor compromised the Exchange server, and through that he got access for additional 25 applications, and through the network access he did. That much advanced threat actors are in the market. They are doing all kind of such a nasty attacks and the ransomware, you can say. So, but from the safeguard sides, from my side, you can say, so in that level, so we don't have that much capabilities available, but with the help of our partners and OEMs who are actually doing R&D for what needs to implement. So that one level of support we can get it from the partners and the whoever OEMs providing a support for us. That is one advantage we have, because we have a people who are really doing R&D, and more than threat actor, they are thinking on how the implementation needs to done. That anyway we have other hand to uh, uh, implement from our side.
Okay. Srito, I'll sort of wrap up this discussion because we are right on the clock, and I'll take Amol and Shini also their perspective. See, when we speak about, you know, I mean, as much of foolproofing as you possibly can of security posture, you can never be 100% secure, and we all agree to this. Typically, it is felt by the end user, someone like me, right, or your employees, that there is a compromise in the user experience. Because typically, when you talk about security, you have multi-factor authentication, you have this log, that log, and so many of this, right? How do and it's again a tough balance to achieve. But what are some of the best practices? I'll take each one from each one of you. One best practice that you could probably speak about, where you're not compromising on, or at least not diluting the end user experience, but making your security posture intact. One best practice also, and I'll request Amol and then I'll request Shiri to finally sign it off.
Look, truly saying it is very critical to answer the one best practice on all those areas. It's really hard for me. So various areas are there, which area I'm going to target. So let's go in the cybersecurity. Definitely in the cybersecurity defense mechanism, you should have the basic protection. So nowadays it's a XDR, EDR we are talking about with the top of your existing AV solution. And that solution should have a capability of utilizing the modern threat detection methodology, like it can able to use the AI ML, which can able to detect that one. And traditional way, it should also be able to protect. So signature and signature less, both things to be there. One thing I always see is that each and every organization should have created one baseline security for their endpoints. And if you create one baseline security for your endpoint, so you are definitely secure by 50%. Like you should have password policy to be there, multi-factor authentication. I consider those are the baseline policy. Even the system locking, device disk encryption. So maybe somewhere it is somebody placed in a different path for their cybersecurity journey. But for me, I place them in a one area. Those are the once I deliver one system. So this thing should be there, and team and everybody should follow that one, and that can prevent you for a basic level of cyber incident or cyber threats. apart from them, then you can add on that, topping the things there, and which can give you a small bits of security, but baseline security which definitely to be there along with that one. That I want to say here.
So thank you so much, Ritu. You've added tremendous value to our conversation. I'll get Amol into this. Amol, like I said, I would like to sign off on this common question.
Yes.
Like I said, no simple answer, but your take on this.
Yes, as Sudipta said, the endpoint security, which is he highlighted actually. So those are the major points we need to be see into the forum actually. Okay, into that along with I can add the access management system supposed to be in place. Okay, so which is a simplified to user experience. Okay, without compromising the security. So into that we can say self password receipt also will become that. Okay, as a BTP model perspective, the XDR and EDR solution, which Sudipta said. So there will be the behavioral module in place. Okay, that is something be the most important into that. So this is something be part from my side actually, the point of view.
Perfect. Perfect. Amol, like I said, thank you so much for participating and giving all your input. Srini, you've been a great speaker, right? So I started with you and probably conclude today's session with you. Your take on this, like I said, not an easy one to conclude, but then I think Sudipta gave some great examples. I was honest and candid in all his answers. Srini, your response to this.
Yeah. See, what is the best practice should organization follow, right? So we have already best practices actually. So in addition, so research which part of your business are most vulnerable. That is the key. And second part, research way to protect your critical income drivers. Which one is coming in? That is important. And third one, store your business, store your BCP, what is it? Store your backup in multiple locations where you mandatory do a testing for all the backups. And whatever your strategy or plan you created, keep your plan up to date. Whatever threat landscape, you keep an update and up to date in your plan. So that will give more what we have practiced as a part of day-to-day activity, and that will give more maturity, and you can see what is the effectiveness of implemented control we can address. And
I
it
feel
will
strongly espousing on the cyber resilience part, which is, like I said, it has come up of it very recently, but for true value, because there is tremendous value in that. Like I said, I'm right on the clock, but all the three gentlemen, Amol, Sudipta, Srini, thank you so much for taking out the time. I see a lot of value. I learn a lot from folks like all of you. I'm sure our friends who are all listening to this, they'll derive something worth taking back to their respective organization. Once again, thank you so much. Been a pleasure speaking to you. Hope to connect with you soon on another platform. But for now, it's a wrap. Thank you so much.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.